I'm Kevin, and these are the Divorce Daddy Diaries. Okay, so for those of you who hadn't been able to figure it out by the title, the Divorce Daddy Diaries are pretty much the diaries of a divorced daddy, that being me in this case. The purpose of these things is mainly, as I went through my divorce, I didn't have a lot of real-world reference material. I could find doctors' opinions and psychiatrists' opinions and talk show clips and things like that, but I wanted to hear from someone who'd been through it, what it was like, what to expect. Was some of the stuff I was feeling normal? What are the struggles? What are the fun times, the funny stuff? Believe it or not, there are some funny things. But I couldn't find much. So I decided I'd set out on my own little adventure and post some videos, write some blog posts, stuff like that, and hope to be a help to somebody somewhere along the line. Good plug for my blog, thedivorcedaddydiaries.blogspot.com. I'll post some more anecdotal stuff there. I've already started, feel free to go read it. It's all going to be first run, non-edited, rough draft stuff, so be gentle as you read and feel free to comment. But yeah, to give you some background on what I went through, what I experienced. I've been on my own for about a year, divorced for 8 months. Geez, it seems longer than 8 months. 8 months. I did not want the divorce when it happened, but I didn't fight it, and I'll explain why either a little later or in future videos, maybe a little both. Long story short, my ex-wife told me during the divorce process, never should have married me, never in love with me, never attracted to me, only stayed with me because she didn't want to hurt me and because other people expected her to, all that kind of good stuff. I will say that I was not the perfect husband. I never touched another human, never laid a hand on her, but I made some decisions and just did some things that added into some pre-existing self-esteem issues and self-worth issues that she had from when she was younger. That probably was the tipping point with the whole didn't want to be married anyway thing. I will say this is not a place where I'm going to bash my ex-wife or anyone related to this divorce. That's not what this is about. It's not healthy in my opinion. I say a lot. I'll speak negatively because the divorce process sucks. Going through it sucks. It's awful. But I'm not going to speak ill of anybody. It's not what I'm here for. But long story short, up until 2 weeks ago, I was a 50-50 parent. Had 4 days with my children 1 week and 3 days with them the next. A topic that will be discussed in a future video. They being my ex and her boyfriend, decided to move to a city about 2 hours away from where I am now. And due to a lot of issues that I'll discuss later, I let them go. Didn't put up a fight, didn't try to figure a lot of stuff out, couldn't really make it work between financial issues and a odd work schedule. So I've gone from 50-50 parent to about 65-35. And that's been lately my toughest adjustment because I love having my kids around, I miss them to death. Seeing them really once a month and on school breaks is not going to go well with me, but also I've learned that what's best for the kids is often not what's best for you personally, but you make that sacrifice as a good parent. I will give one piece of advice in this first video, coming up on 4 minutes. They'll probably all be 4 to 8 minutes long. My advice in this video, if you can find a way to avoid divorce, avoid it. Don't do it. I was raised believing, and I still believe it, that divorce is only really okay in infidelity or abuse. Neither of which was an issue in my marriage. But again, didn't fight because just didn't think it was gonna work for me. I can handle a lot, been through a lot. I've come out of this okay as a better, happier person. But even knowing what I know now, I would still be married because of the protection it would have given my children from some of the stuff they had to go through. The day you become a parent, whether you hold that child for the first time, cut the cord, catch them in the back seat of a taxi, your job becomes to provide and to protect those kids, that kid. I feel like having to put them through the divorce and adjustments with moving and meeting new people I feel like I failed at protecting them like I should have. More nights holding my crying kids in the last year than the first 10 my oldest was alive. I get texts, not saying, "Daddy, I'm having fun. Daddy, how are you?" But, "Daddy, I'm sad. Daddy, I'm crying. Daddy, I want to see you." And there's not a lot I can do about that, but try to be strong for them and tell them it's going to be okay, because I believe it will be okay. But if I could go back and change anything, it would be fight harder to protect my kids, because they went through too much. So that's my advice to you. The divorce process is horrible. It's awful. We weren't very contentious. We didn't have long drawn out process. We were cooperative. We got it done pretty quick and easily. Even so, it was an awful, awful, awful thing to experience. I don't recommend it to anybody, but especially if you have kids, keep them in mind. Put them first. You know, it sounds horrible to people who are living in unhappy marriages, but I would stay in an unhappy marriage to have taken some of those nights away from my kids where they cried themselves asleep. Everyone deserves to be happy. Everyone has that right to pursue happiness. I understand that, but for me personally, what I put those kids through by dragging them through that divorce is something I'm going to regret for a long time. So that's video 1, 6.5 minutes. I'll wrap it up here. I'm hoping that in the future I can get a little deeper, a little more passionate. It will be funny. There'll be some funny stuff, I promise. If you go read the blog, there's a couple stories up there. Dating as a single dad is insane in 2015. Yeah, there's a lot of good stories there. So hopefully this reaches someone. Feel free to comment. I'd like to hear back from you. If you have any specific questions about things I went through, I would love to get those and respond to you. But mainly just want to be a help and kind of take the edge off, because divorce blows. So we'll talk to you next time.